Absolutely. So start now.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
Fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Okay, sir. So very nice, sir. You are giving the talk today.
Yes, sir.
It's
So
my
it's
pleasure to
interesting
introduce
topic.
today's
Interesting topic, and this actually helps a lot of the students to understand
yes,
the
sir.
nutrition.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to everybody. Today we have scientist Dr. Madhusudan, sir, special officer, National Seed Project, UAS GKVK. Sir also did BSc Agri, MSc Agri, and PhD in agriculture, specialization in genetics and plant breeding. Sir also got some work experience, started from assistant millet breeder to special officer through actually GKPK, National Seed Project, US Bangalore. And sir is presently working as special officer at All India Crop Research Potential for Seed Crops, University of Agricultural Sciences, GKVK Bangalore. Sir also got several awards for his contribution. Sir is a gold medal for highest merit in PhD and achievement award for excellence in seed production. Graduate assistant during MSc degree program and CSIR UGC Junior Research Fellow for PhD degree program, and also ICAR award for serving course coordinator for the short course on IPR and biosafety issues related to plant genetics resources. Sir also awarded certificate of merit on Foundation Day of University of Agricultural Sciences Bangalore for generating a net income of rupees 6.01 lakhs under the project Pulse Seed of during the year 2017 and 18. Sir also published more than 100 research articles published both in national and international journals of. And sir also developed several varieties of crop prototype also developed and technology also developed by sir. Several species like groundnut and soya bean, groundnut G2, Y2, and white ragi KMR 630, and prototype developed for plant germplasm registration of sesame mutant number 1022, and sir also completed several research projects funded by different bodies of government of India as well as state government. With this brief introduction about sir, so on behalf of KSTA and my own behalf, welcome to you, sir, giving this talk on potential crops for food and nutrition. Sir, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to give this talk, sir. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Srinivas sir and Dr. Siddegowda sir, for a very elaborate introduction. I think it was not required, but anyway, for the benefit of
It is our pleasure, sir. You are a good human being, first of all.
yeah,
So wonderful person, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation, sir.
Yeah, that's very nice, sir. Thanks for a nice introduction. And I think on board we have a good number of students from different regions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible, students?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible, sir.
Yes, sir. This is actually, I think I should say sorry for Siddegowda sir and Srinivas sir, first of all, because this, particular event was fixed very good number of times, but in one or the other way, because of my tight schedule and sudden meetings, I was to postpone. And Dr. Siddegowda ji, actually, he was always, contacting me before holding this meeting and for this presentation, and he was helping me to postpone this and at least program it today. I felt yesterday that today at least I should do this justice. Otherwise, again, postponing is not good on my part. So, welcome to all the students and the faculty. This particularly today I'm talking on the potential crops for food and nutrition. So as you all know, we are sufficient in food grain production. 135 million tons we are able to produce, and all our the godowns are full, and even under any kind of eventualities, we are having enough food for supply to our public. And now the next era would be the nutritional security also. So apart from the food security, we should also look at the nutrition security in terms of having the better health. So in this context, we have some of the potential crops or their neglected crops or the underutilized or underexploited crops, but they're nutritionally very rich. That's the thing that we must understand from this topic. And I would like to present before you this what are the potential crops that we have in our country, and in the university what work and what crops we are really working, and what is the nutritional status of these crops. And you can compare. I'm trying to compare with other food grains that we are consuming, and we will also compare with the milk that is nutritionally rich, and how these potential crops compared with these our day-to-day food grains as well as the milk, and how we can make use of these things, and what are the products that can be easily prepared of using these potential crops. So I would like to take you through these slides and make you understand what are the potential crops, which are the crops, and the nutrition status. So why we need these potential crops? So this is an estimated total number of positive plants so that we are dealing with, which are having the economic use will be around 80,000. So of which only 30,000 plants are edible in nature. Of the 80,000 plant species that we have, we can only use 30,000 plant species for edible purpose. Of which only the 7,000 are being cultivated by the mankind at one time or the other time. There is something like only 7,000 crop species are under cultivation by the human beings. So there are 158 plants are widely used for food purpose, and of which 30 crops contribute nearly 90% of the world's food requirement, and only 10 crops of the 30 would be contributing major towards 75% of the world's food requirement will be contributed by only 10 crops. So there is only 3 crops like rice, wheat, and maize. So these are the 3 important crops, so which contributes about 60% of the world's total food production if you look at the statistics. So moving on, so why we need these potential crops? So mere few crops cannot provide all the nutrition that is required for the body. So there are something like 16 elements that are required for the body. So we need to have more and more crops to have nutrition or balanced nutrition for better growth and health. So the especially few crops cannot suit to all the ecological systems. So each crop, requires a different ecology and a particular environment to be grown successfully for a better yield. So that's why the few crops cannot suit to all the agri ecosystems. So we need to have the broader base of the plants. So our food base need to be diversified. We cannot restrict only for few crops, and a few crops cannot provide all the nutrition required, and few crops cannot be grown, all the crops cannot be grown under all the agriculture ecosystems that we have. So the solution is to develop, the need-based or trade-based potential crops of the regional importance. So if you look at the entire country, so different states are cultivating different potential crops. So like for, all the states may not be suitable to the ecological conditions prevailing in a particular state may not be suitable to grow all the potential crops in a particular given ecosystem. So we need to try out in different states. That's how we have different AACRP centers across the country working on these potential crops. So the answer for all these questions to meet the nutrition security and the successfully broaden the food base. And if you look at it, we need the potential crops. So they are the crops for the future. So in terms of the nutrition, these potential crops are the crops for the future. So we will see how they are nutritionally important, how products can be made use with these particular crops. So we have an elaborate research program on this particular potential crops. So this particular coordinated research project on underutilized and underexploited plants was initiated way back in 1982, and now functioning as All India Coordinated Research Network on the potential crops under the Council of Agricultural Research, or ICR, New Delhi. The main objective is to generate improved technologies in selected crops of the minor economic importance for food, fodder, and industrial use. So the main headquarters of this ASR on potential crops is located at NBPJ, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, NBPJ, New Delhi, and coordinating the and conducting the research on 17 crops of food, fodder, and industrial value through 13 main and 10 cooperating and 4 voluntary centers. So look at the research activity that is going on in the entire country. There are 17 potential crops which are having the food and fodder value as well as the industrial value. So they have been tested through 13 main centers and 10 cooperating centers and 4 voluntary centers which are located in diverse agroclimatic zones of India. So as I said, a single ecosystem may not suit for all the crops. So we have the different ecosystems so spread across the country, and these crops are being tested or research is going on in these different agroecological conditions in the country. So the the important crops under this network, we have pseudo cereals like grain amaranth, buckwheat, and grain quinoas. So these are important pseudo cereals. So like we have cereals like paddy, wheat, maize, and so on and so forth. Similarly, so these potential crops like grain amaranth and buckwheat and quinoa, grain quinoas, we also call it as quinoa or quinoa, elsewhere it is referred, and these are grouped under pseudo cereals. And we have minor cereals like job steer, and we have some of the food legumes, especially the rice bean, winged bean, adjuki bean, and so on and so forth. So these crops are the group of leguminous crops under these potential crops. So like in other legumes, we have the red gram or green gram or black gram and any grams that we consume, especially for the protein purpose. These food legumes also add the protein source. Similarly, we have vegetables like kankoda and then kalingada. This is the important minor vegetable crops falling under these potential crops. And we have some of the oil seed crops like Simaru, Baglaka, or Tumba or Jatropa. In our state, in state of Karnataka, we have Simaruba and Jatropa. These are important oil seed crops, the minor oil seed crops, which have the future for industrial application. So coming to the pseudo cereals, as I said, we have a grain amaranth. So most of you have seen, and we have buckwheat grown in northern part of India, and we have grain quinoas or the quinoa or quinoa, whatever you call. This is gaining a lot of importance in the recent times. So we have a grain amaranth plant looks like this and with various colors. Like generally we have a green earheads and then pink earheads. There are different kinds of the plants which can be developed. Usually grains look like the finger millet or the ragi. So we have the white seeds, the small size seeds, and these seeds can be flowed and mixed with the wheat flour as well as the rice flour, whatever. And we can prepare the chapatis out of this grain amaranth flour also. Similarly, we have buckwheat, which resembles a weed, and generally the seeds can be flaked, and a lot of the vermicelli can be prepared and used, and it's being used in some of the other part of the world. We have quinopodium or quinoa. It is quinoa. It is called as the quinoa. Commercially, it is available. The grains are small in size, and there are a lot of variation available in the plants. So we have different kinds of varieties of quinoa is available, and we can cultivate and we develop newer and newer varieties using these germplasm stocks, and we can prepare the products like this with quinoa also. They are nutritionally good. we will see what is the nutrition composition of these crops. And likewise, we have minor cereals like job steer is also a minor cereal grown in the northeastern parts of the country in the hilly areas. So likewise, we have food legumes. So as I said, we have a rice bean and winged bean, adjuki bean and faba bean. These are the legumes which contribute a lot of protein for our diet. Similarly, we have vegetables and oilseed crops. As I said, this Simaruba is the tree species. So this is one of the important medicinal plant also. It offers a lot of anti-cancerous properties. It's a tree species and the leaves are used and the bark is also used for medicinal purpose. So under the ACR and potential crops at the US Bangalore Center, we are dealing with the three main crops, that is grain amaranth, and then rice bean, pulse crop, and a winged bean. If you look at the grain amaranth, this was a rediscovered ancient crop known for its nutritional value. It is way back, it is cultivated in the Andean regions of South America, and it was lost its existence. Recently, it is rediscovered as an ancient crop, and it offers a lot of nutritional benefits. So this is categorized as a pseudo cereal in the list of potential crops. It's grown for mainly for green leafy vegetables. Most of us are consuming this green leafy vegetables of grain amaranth that is available in the market. But the grain purpose is very important. So this is native to America and is widely distributed in tropical regions of the world. And the grains looks like this, and the plants are green in nature. Similarly, if you look at the nutrition composition for 100 grams of seeds of grain amaranth, so I am comparing this grain amaranth with this generally that we consume the millets and then maize, barley, wheat, and rice. So wheat and rice are generally consumed by every one of us quite often, and we are trying to compare the nutritional composition of this grain amaranth with edible food grains. So if you compare with the wheat and rice, so we have 16 grams of protein. So it's very high amounts of protein can be seen in the grain amaranth. Usually we don't expect that kind of protein composition in any of the cereals. Similarly, carbohydrates are 62 grams per 100 grams. And it is very rich in lipids, that is very important. And it's also rich in natural calcium. So it is 490 grams, milligrams per 100 grams of grain amaranth. It's as high as any of the other crops that we consume. Similarly, it is also very rich in phosphorus, 600 milligrams, and iron, as you all know. Iron is also a very important element that is required for our bodybuilding. So this 17.5 grams, it's highest compared to any of the food grains that we are consuming, like barley, wheat, rice, maize, etc. So this is the reason why these are called the potential crops because of their high nutritional composition, nutritional profile. They're called as the potential crops, and they offer the nutrition for the general consumption. So coming to the essential amino acid composition for every 100 grams of protein, if you look at it. So we are comparing this grain amaranth essential amino composition, essential amino acid composition with that of wheat, rice, and milk. So milk is supposed to have higher amounts of essential amino acids like lysine, methionine, cysteine, and isoleucine. So grain amaranth has highest lysine as well as the methionine, cysteine, leucine, and isoleucine. So it is almost comparable with that of a milk, or rather much better than the milk in terms of this essential amino acids. That's the reason why these crops, grain amaranth, is a potential nutritional crop for the future. So how can you use this grain amaranth? As I said, it has plenty of uses. So day in and day out, every one of us are using these tender leaves as a vegetable. We all know that. And in the eastern part of India, the grains of popped grains of grain amaranth are used in the form of a pudding. Or at times, we can also prepare the laddu sweetments, and They can daily be on a day-to-day basis. It can be consumed, especially for the children. This is a very good diet. And usually in the tribal areas where it is grown in the northeastern parts and the hilly regions, so they mix these popped grains with honey and they use it. So, so also when we the rice, I mean, the grain amaranth flour can be blended. So with that of any wheat or the rice or finger millet flour that we consume in a day-to-day basis. So maybe at 1:4 proportion, this grain amaranth flour can be blended, and that can be daily on a day-to-day basis. It can be used in various food products that we can prepare at home level. So amaranth is also very rich in oil. It contains an oil called the squalene. It has plenty of cosmetic properties and skin. It's a skincare penetrant. So it can also be used as a lubricant for computer desks. Of course, we don't use this nowadays, but elsewhere it has a lot of application in the lubricants. And it also produces a large amount of biomass in a very short period of time. So thereby it can be used as a forage crop for animals. That's also important feed for the animals. In US, elsewhere, it is considered as one of the healthcare crop in the recent times. So this is a healthcare crop owing to its high protein potential nutritional profile. So it is considered as the healthcare crop. And this particular crop also has the drought tolerant mechanism, makes it a very prospective crop for the dryland crop and farmers in the semi-arid areas of the country. So what are the products one can think of, with this grain amaranth flour, what products can be prepared, as I said. So grain amaranth flour, the grains are white in nature. We can flour it, the grains can be popped and used in preparation of the laddus. And we can also blend them in wheat, and then we can prepare the chapatis, and chikkis can be prepared, and biscuits can be prepared, and even snacks can also be prepared. Into other potential crops that can be considered now, we have a small millets like foxtail millet, kodo millet, proso millet, barnyard millet, and little millet. These are all again all the millets all of us know. So the year 2023 is considered to be the International Year of Millets. So we have a lot of millets which are nutritionally rich in their rich, and it can offer good health benefits. Similarly, we have nutri-rich crops like quinoa, I said, and chia. There's another important crop grown in the state. So we have minor fruit crops like custard apples, gooseberries, jamuns, pomelo, wood apples, and we have biofuel crops like simaruba and pangamia and neem. These are important crops of our country, and these crops offers the biofuel crops, and fuel and energy can be generated using these crops. And we also have some of the crops which can offer the dye. We can prepare dye out of some crops like annatto, which the important dye yielding crop. So we have small millets like foxtail millet, podo millet, and then barnyard millet, and proso millet, and little millet. So these millets are very rich in fiber, and then they have a high nutritional profile, and they offer the energy products can be prepared using these small millets. So we have a additional nutri-rich crops, like I said, the quinoa and then chia. So quinoa is a white-seeded one, and marginally it's cultivated. And many times, this quinoa is used for preparing a lot of food products. And chia is also another important crop. So this is being largely cultivated in our state and being exported to other parts of the world. So this chia can be used in many ways, and it is believed to, reduce the weight, and that's how daily consumption reduces the weight, or weight loss program, bone strength, and so on and so forth. We have minor fruit crops that are under the this particular program. We have biofuel crops, like I said, Simaruba is a tree species, like Pongamia, then neem. So these are some of the important potential crops for actually the nutritional security. And I hope this particular uh, lecture interests you, and it can also be utilized in the due course of time. Already people are using these products in the day-to-day consumption. So thank you very much for your patience. If there are any questions, I'm ready to take up and answer your questions. Go to Srinivas.
ಸರ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
Okay.
ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದ ಅಟೆಂಡೀಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸರ್. ಏನೇ ಈ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಏನು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ
ಯಾವುದೇ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಮೇಲ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಖಂಡಿತ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಐ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಯುವರ್ ಇಮೇಲ್ ಐಡಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಸರ್.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving this opportunity, and hope to extend similar kind of the lectures in future also. Whenever there is some time is available, I am pleased to be associated with you. Thanks for giving this opportunity, and hope to see you again.
So again, ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಈ ಒಂದು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಸರ್, ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಉತ್ತಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಎಂಬ ವಿಷಯದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಭಾರಿ ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ತಲುಪುವಂತೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಸರ್. ಸೊ ಎನಿವೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ an immense pleasure to thank you, sir.
Thank you so much
for this wonderful speech on nutraceuticals. This talk has given many information to the students. I gratefully thank you, sir, and from KST and personally, sir.
Thank you.
And I also thank our KST CEO, Dr. Ramesh, sir, for his encouragement to organize this talent search program. I am gratefully thank you, sir. And I also thank our chairman, Professor Ayappan, sir, and the colleagues, technicians, and staff members for their participation to conduct this program. Once again, thank you, all of you, and attendees also. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Special thanks to Dr. Ramesh, sir. Convey my best wishes and thanks for providing this opportunity, sir.
Questions,